allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Bill Edinger here. Lloyd Ewing.
Here.
Misty Edinger.
Here.
Amy Beers.
Here.
Matt Vaughn.
Here.
Thank you.
Open the floor to public comments. Any public comments? Want to read the minutes on there?
The last meeting of the Highland Township Home Rule Commissioner meeting was held on June 2nd, 2016 at 1900 hours. Roll call of Commissioners: Amy Beers present, Misty Edinger present, William Edinger present, John Garris present, Lloyd Ewing present, Matt Vaughn present, Erin Vassallo absent. Public comment period was opened by Chairperson John Garris. Donation of $20 was received by Sue Dean. Minutes from May 24th were read by Misty Edinger. John Garris noted there was a spelling error made in his last name on the meeting minutes. Bill Edinger made motion to accept the minutes with the correction of the spelling error as read. Lloyd Ewing seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Agenda. John Garris made motion to accept the agenda. Lloyd Ewing seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Reminders and announcements. John Garris stated that all Home Rule Study Commission communications are public and discoverable. The Home Rule Study Commission will follow Robert's Rules of Order for conducting meetings. Old business. Meeting times and dates were discussed. Amy has been in contact with the HiLa Sportsmen's Club, and their building is available for a meeting for the HRSC to use on June 23rd for the meeting. Misty Edinger stated that in order to keep advertising expenses to a minimum, the HRSC should schedule out a few minute meetings in advance. John Garris made motion to accept the following schedule for the meetings: June 23rd, 1900 hours at the HiLa Sportsman's Club in Russell City, July 7th at 1900 hours at the Municipal Building in James City, July 21st, 1900 hours, HiLa Municipal Building in James City. Bill Edinger seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Conference call with Grant Township was discussed. John Garris made motion to schedule for July 21st. Bill Edinger seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. New business. A tentative budget was passed around, submitted by Misty Edinger. Total budget was $6,000. Individual points on the budget was discussed. Misty Edinger explained that where her numbers come from. She made a motion to accept the budget. Lloyd Ewing seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Motion was made by Lloyd Ewing to have John Garris and Misty Edinger present the budget to the Highland Township Board of Supervisors at their next regular meeting. Bill Edinger seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Public comment period was discussed. Misty Edinger made motion to have formal public comment roll call period after roll call and before the reading of the minutes, and limit each person to a time frame of 3 minutes on the floor to make their point. They also have a public comment period before each major decision is made by the HRSC. Bill Edinger seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Receive resignation from Erin Vassallo due to her employment taking her out of the area. Misty Edinger made motion to accept the resignation and declare the office vacant. Amy Beers seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Motion was made by Amy Beers to appoint new commissioner for this vacancy and accept letters of interest for our next vacancy should it occur. Misty Edinger seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Bill Edinger made motion to appoint Bill Geibel from Highland as the 7th Home Rule Study Commissioner. Mr. Geibel has already voiced interest to serve in this capacity. Matt Vaughn seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion passed. Committees. Misty Edinger presented a finding from the first section of the second class Township Code book that was assigned to Misty and Amy. She stated that the current way the vacancies in the Township Board of Supervisors are being handled mostly by the Out County Judge is not working for Highland, and that is a decision that should be made by the voters of Highland Township. For another finding was many township residents have voiced concerns about nepotism in Highland Township government, and there should be discussion on an anti-nepotism policy. Matt Vaughn and Bill Edinger led the next discussion on the second part of the second class Township Code book. Special meeting times of the supervisors were discussed. The meeting should be held at a time that is most convenient for the residents of Highland Township. Ordinance should be voted on whether to pass new ones or get rid of old ones by the residents. Also, we need to protect our local volunteer fire department. The township cannot seek to pay for fire protection when there is a viable and trained volunteer department within the township. Another point that was discussed was prohibiting the sale of municipal authorities to private companies and corporations. A list of questions that were recommended by SALDEF was handed out to the commissioners to help with the studies. Final public comment period. Tom Orzetti emailed commissioners a sample of the newsletter he'd like to publish. After discussion and review from the commissioners, John Garris made motion to allow the newsletter to be published after it was reviewed by SALDEF. Bill Edinger seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Adjournment with no other immediate business on the table. John Garris made motion to adjourn the meeting. Misty Edinger seconded. Commissioners voted 6 yes, 0 no. Motion carried.
I have a correction.
Okay.
On the first page, the very last line there, Russell should have 2 L's.
Misty, you may have to correct my name for donations to Mary Dean instead of Sue Dean. Because
Okay.
my name is legally Mary.
Okay.
That's a lot of
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have to first the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes as read with the corrections.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, John. Along with our meeting minutes is also our treasurer's report. So far, the Home Rule Study Commission has received an additional $30 donation tonight from Mary Dean, and so our kitty now holds $99.75. I have 2 bills here for advertising. One is $49.62. The other one is $29.74. I make a motion that the Home Rule Study Commission gives these to the township along with this, some of our donation money to pay for these.
I second that motion.
That will give us a remaining $18, I believe. I didn't write it down. $19.75 is what we have left now. Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Bill. William. Is that William? Okay, sorry.
Okay, now you're good. Go.
All right. Just a reminder, again, is all communications are public, and the meeting conduct will be by Robert's rules. Oh, approve agenda? I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we're up for the old business. It says consolidates individual studies.
Did everybody get a copy of these questions, this worksheet? We're supposed to be filling out.
Yeah, you guys have that right here.
Okay. Has anybody made any progress on answering any of those questions?
I have.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So the first question was, how could a second-class township form of government be strengthened or made more clearly responsible or accountable to the people? And this is in, from section 2918. And it says, per section 2918 of the Home Rule Code, the function and duty of the Government Study Commission is, the Government Study Commission shall study the form of government of the municipality to compare it with other available forms under the law of this Commonwealth and determine whether or not, in its judgment, the government could be strengthened or made more clearly responsible or accountable to the people, or whether its operation could become more economical or efficient under a changed form of government. And then with that as the premise, this is how could the second-class township form of government be strengthened or made more clearly responsible. And I put the second, and I did some research here, is the second-class township form of government could be strengthened by affording citizens of Highland Township a more substantial role in governing of local matters through allowing citizens' votes to determine whether or not to accept or not accept an ordinance or a decision made on local matters, allowing the very citizens of Highland Township through a majority vote, not a legislator or supervisors having the only say, and that would provide for a more accountable and responsible form of government. So that's my answer to that. Anybody else have anything on that first question? All right, second question, there's 8 questions. Okay, so the second question is, how could the second-class township form of government become more economical, efficient under a changed form of government? Economically, the second-class township could be strengthened through a greater citizen involvement by vote or petition. We could possibly set, and I was researching through other home rules, municipalities where they set like tax limitations, and that could provide greater transparency. And there's some items in the second-class code book in the back that show that the township has to provide notice if they intend to spend, I think it's $6,000 to the public, and then if it's $10,000, you have to put that in the newspaper on any contract or purchase. That's that one. And then the third is in what, any questions or any answers on that? Anything else? No. All right, the third one was, in what does the second-class township code differ? In what ways does the second-class township differ from other governing documents such as the Declaration of Independence and PA Constitution and U.S. Constitution? All right. Wow, over a lot here. All right. The U.S. Constitution and Declaration of Independence says all men are equal and have unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And that to secure those rights, governments are are instituted by men. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive, to that end of people trying to get the pursuit of life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness, then they have the right to abolish it and institute a new government. The Declaration mandates that representative government respond to efforts to protect human rights. Government, by consent of the people, the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution make it clear that the ultimate decision of how to best protect inalienable rights remains secured in the people, as they can go so far as to abolish in a government that's not responded to it and institute a new one for its safety and happiness. And second-class township code is not in that way and is least responsive to its citizens, favoring the rights of companies over people. And then the fourth one, does the code provide for the needs and desires of the community and best represent the principles of a democratic society? No. It's just a simple answer on that one. Any additions or?
The only thing I had on that is I believe that the second-class township code is allowing things to happen. You know, they're putting the corporate rights above human rights or basic human rights. They're allowing the oil and gas industry to divide Highland Township, pitting neighbors against neighbors. And doing some research on that, within 17 million people live within 1 mile of a well in this country.
Wow.
So, you know, that would be my example of corporate rights being put over human rights. Secrecy is one of the industry's, gas and oil industry's main primary tools. And we need to know what's going on. That needs to be exposed. Our rights as a human being should override a corporate right to their secrecy.
And actually, I can't read my chicken scratch. It says, no, rather for big corporations and opposite of the democratic society, disallowing citizen input for their health and safety. Number 5 is, who wrote the code and what were their priorities they had in mind as they wrote the various sections. PA legislators and the PA Assembly, they make the code. The priorities that they had in mind as they wrote it in various sections was the uniformity, to make sure it was generic and one size fits all. That's all I had on that one. 6, does the code allow for decisions to be made on issues that are unique to Highland Township? I just put no. Any additions?
That's all I put was no.
All right. And 7, what's the relationship between the state of Highland Township as outlined in the code? What is the relationship between the state and Highland Township as outlined in the code? Okay. 6 or 7. All right. Highland is governed by PA laws developed by the legislator, which are generic and one size fits all. Basically, the same as I said before. And then number 8, what's the relationship of the code to the rights of those living in the Highland Township? And I just said it's generic. It's the same as the last answer. It's governed by PA law and developed by the legislative. It's generic and one size fits all. And 9 says, does the code give township residents the tools they need to determine the future of Highland Township? And as I say, no input from the citizens.
Because basically what we're trying, the way I took it out is you're electing 3 people to have your commonality. And when there's a time like what we're going through right now, it would be better to get it back to the people. Everybody should have to make their decision and their voice be heard on a decision like this, just not 3 people that we elected. Because it's unfair to the 3 people too.
Right.
The only thing different kind of that I had besides him is about the clearly responsible or accountable to the people. Right now, if the supervisors make a decision without community basis, that supervisor can be held personally liable for that decision. If we start making the votes go back to the township voters and that kind of stuff, that spreads out, people make their decisions and live with their own consequences. Instead of, 3 people making decisions and living with those consequences, it should be, we are a community somewhat divided right now, but hopefully sometime soon we'll get back together and we live as a community, we should work as a community and come together and be responsible for our community.
Oh, and then I also put down that a state, the difference between, what's our relationship to the, okay, let me read that again. What relationship between the state and Highland Township as outlined in the code? The state, it has supremacy over us, or a primacy over us, it's called. In general, municipalities can exercise the following powers and no others. First, and this is all the code, in the township code, those granted in express words, which is the township code. Second, those necessary and fairly implied to the powers expressed in the code. And thirdly, those essential to accomplish the declared purposes of the code. And if there's any doubt of the power that we use, that is resolved through the court system. That's what I got out of it.
So with all of that, do we feel like there's more time needed to continue the study? Does anybody need more time to get their stuff together? Does everybody feel confident in what they've done so far? Do we need more time?
I feel confident. I've read through that book quite a few times.
Because if we don't, then we need to consolidate these ideas. I got mine scribbled down. JP's got his scribbled down. The rest of you can scribble down your ideas to these, and get them into me. That'd be great, because then I can make a report on our findings and consolidate all of that. Okay, if we can do that by the next, if we can get that to me, email or hand it to me before our next meeting on July 7th, then hopefully I can have that report consolidated and put together for our next meeting. Everybody okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good.
So collectively, do we believe that the second-class township code fits Highland and meets our needs right now?
I don't
No,
believe it, so.
Not at all.
Okay. So we probably need to discuss a plan for our first public hearing. I'm kind of jumping down one. I guess I didn't put this in the correct order. But that's what I kind of got from everybody in our last meetings, that maybe we were kind of leaning that way. That what we have now is not currently working. So I also felt that maybe we were trying to head for a November election is when we wanted to have this done. In order to do that, we do have 18 months to do this. But in order to do it, I've given everybody out a timeline here. And these are the points and when we would, tentative dates of when we want things done and need things done in order to hit that deadline for November. Our big important dates on here is our 2 public hearings. And we have to have our proposed charter into the Highland Township Secretary by at least 8/31. So that gives the Township Secretary, I believe it's 5 days, to submit it to the Board of Elections. And they have to be submitted to the Board of Elections by September 9th in order to have it ready for us in November. So this is just a generic timeline. These are like I just put them out there as our points. You know, these are our target dates. Anybody have any input on these target dates?
Are we pretty much on schedule right now according to this? Are we kind of on schedule if we go with this? Are we on kind of a schedule we're gonna need it, or?
The only thing that we might be a little bit behind on is our consolidating of these questions and getting our worksheets consolidated and put together, because it should have maybe didn't been done today, but at the very latest, we can formalize that at the next meeting, if anybody wants to.
I mean, do we have to have these written down, or can we come to a consensus and just, I'm asking
That's,
a question.
yeah,
I
that's
didn't
up
know.
to what we want to do. It's easier to consolidate if everybody's got them
Okay,
kind of written out. That way I'm not misinterpreting
okay.
your ideas when I'm making this study, when I'm putting it together. I have them there in front of me.
Then if we have everything all ready by the next meeting, we can vote on that and we'll be on schedule, or is that what we're all shooting for? Is the schedule for then to have it November, or are we gonna do all the 18 months?
I think we're shooting for
Then
November.
November then?
Number.
Okay.
Is anybody opposed to wanting?
As long as we can stay on task.
Stay focused and get this done.
I mean, it's a lot of work to do in a little bit of time. That's kind of why I made the picture of it. To show, you know, we are already here. And these are the only dates that we have kind of to get these things together. You know, I look at things better when I see a picture of
I
them.
do too.
I understand it better. If anybody wants to know what we're looking at, it's right here. And again, this is just a tentative timeline, nothing set in stone.
I do have a question. The Sportsmen's Club's willing to let us borrow this facility again one day in August for one of our meetings. Which one do you, I just have to give them a date.
Okay. Which date would you say?
About the 18th when we work on the charter. You think that would be a good one?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, the
Sound good to
18th
you,
would be
Matt?
fine.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I also talked to the president of the Snow Seekers Club, and they said that we're able to use the facility, but we would have to work with Mr. Wolf, because he would be possibly our person unlocking the door.
I'm the key person.
Yeah. So we would have to work it with him to see if he was available for those dates as well.
Yeah, I can open it, you gotta turn the water and everything else on over
Okay.
there. But it's a 5-minute process, but let me know a week ahead of time.
Okay.
If I can't do it, if I happen to be out of town, I'll get Bob from the bar across the street to open it.
Okay.
He can't open it without my permission.
Okay.
How far are we out, Misty, as far as advertising?
advertising, we're
You know
at
what
3.
Highland Hotel is?
We're at 3.
Right across.
So we got
So we're good to the 21st?
the 21st, the last one we have advertised.
Where do
One
we
more
have
thing.
that advertised as?
21st is in James City.
I was gonna say, do you want to like incorporate that and maybe get a couple more dates ahead of time so that we can advertise for a couple more of those?
And do we
Or is it
want
too soon,
to,
or-
I don't think it's too
Right.
soon to do our meetings, because I kind of think we have a schedule for that. But do we want our public hearings, we'll have to advertise them. I think we should advertise them separately than our meetings.
I agree with that one.
I agree.
So we want to give a time, like a date for the public hearing, the first one at least? I mean, schedule it out.
Right.
To be able to give, to advertise for it?
I'm kind of concerned to put a final public hearing date right
Okay.
now until I have that study consolidated.
Okay.
And we finalize it. When I consolidate that and we're able to finalize that, I think then we can finalize our public hearing plans.
Yeah, because it's a public hearing, that's when we would say that we're deciding to.
Yeah, whether we decide or not,
To
we have to make a
draft or not
vote
draft.
before that.
Okay,
And I don't want, we can't vote on something we don't have yet.
okay.
And so that would be, when we put the study together, then we can all look at that study and see what we all want to do, whether we want to vote, to write a home rule charter or not.
When do you think we could do that by?
That's why I was
Yeah,
hoping
that's why it's
for,
tentative, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
why it's all tentative. That's why I was hoping that I could have everybody's reports handed in to me before July 7th, so I can have that down. Have that report ready for all of us and go through that. And then on July 7th, then we could possibly, vote whether we want to go ahead and write the charter or whether we want to see if more study again is needed.
Okay.
And then when we vote, whether we want to write the charter or not, is when we'll do the public hearing on it.
Okay.
So public hearing, if I am understanding correctly, is to show what we've done and that's when we actually get the public input
Right.
on, we know a lot of people have come to us and said, we'd like to see this in Highland, we'd like to see that in Highland. But this way, if we have a report of it, this is what we want to do in Highland, we can get better input.
We could have probably questionnaires or
Yep,
suggestion box or something like that.
right. Okay,
Okay.
so I think right now we'd be safe on scheduling out our meetings.
Okay.
I don't know if we'd be safe on scheduling out a public hearing.
Where are you gonna hold the public hearing at?
We probably either here at the Sportsmen's or out at the municipal building in James City, maybe even at the pavilion in James City, so, it's out there in the ball field or something.
Well, we're advertised till July 21st.
I believe so.
Yeah, so we want to figure out where we're going to do on August 4th. We figure out HiLa's on August 18th.
Do we want to do the snow seekers on the 4th?
Yeah.
I make a motion to have snow seekers on August 4th.
I'll second.
Yeah.
Can you unlock the door that day, Jim?
Unlock-
August 4th. Are you going to be around?
Yeah, I should be here.
Okay.
They charging you for that?
No.
Not as far as I know.
No. And then we have the 18th covered on August at the HiLa. And then September, because we're looking at going out all the way to November 8th, so we could go all the way up to October.
No,
No?
No, we have
We
to have
cannot.
everything set to the secretary by
Oh, September.
September.
No, well,
Oh, okay, now I'm reading it right.
Yeah, we have to have a time for it to get to the Board of Elections and.
Okay.
that's why I put it in picture form.
Right.
Because when I did it, it's kind of,
You gonna try and make it for the November election, the vote on it?
that's what, yeah, we're gonna definitely make a decision whether we're going to write the charter or not. And if we decide to write the charter, then we're shooting for November.
Because the next period will be the primary election.
Right.
That's the second Tuesday of May or something like that.
Right.
Would we want the one on September 1st?
Yeah. That'd be a
That
good
would be the
idea.
last one.
We want to have September 1st, or should we push it back till
We just-
August 31st, even though that's a Wednesday?
That's the day you're giving the charter to the,
Right, so we can give the charter to the township secretary on April 1st.
Okay.
We'll have one final meeting the week that we're gonna give it, if we decide to write it, that we'll give it to her.
Okay. So you're saying August 31st? Or the 30th?
Anybody have a problem with going to a Tuesday meeting on August 30th, so we have our stuff together?
No.
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 Okay.
And we'll want to have that at, you know,
We do that back at the municipal building. That way we'll have everything in hand and it will already be in James City when we want to turn it in
right.
2 days later, if that's what we decide to do.
Okay.
8:30.
And all these meetings are at 7 o'clock, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we have motions made for snow seekers on August 4th, HiLa Sportsman's Club on August 18th, and I make a motion for August 30th at the municipal building in James City.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a signing sheet? And one other thing I wanted to bring up was the newsletter. I sent one, did Chad say anything to you about that? Because I sent him a newsletter, he never sent me anything back.
Newsletter?
Yeah, did he
Yeah,
send?
he okayed that.
Okay. He never sent anything back to me.
I might have missed the email.
I may have, too, yeah.
Okay.
And then we're gonna talk about the
Yeah. we need to-
vacancy, you know?
At our last meeting, we had voted on William Geibel to take the vacancy that was opened by Erin Vassallo. When we, finally a second approached Bill Geibel about doing that, he had just received some disturbing news, and he has got now a lot of other obligations. So he feels that between his other obligations and things, that he's not able to put everything that he needs to put into this. He doesn't have that ability right now. So he regretfully says, declined the position. I think, according to our last meeting minutes, we had all decided, and I still think we should stick with that, is to, advertise for letters of interest. Because I'd really still, like to get somebody from, the Highland area or another one from the Russell City area, try to get that outside of James City if we could. But to request letters of interest before July 7th, well, I think that's that's too soon.
Well, if you'd asked for by the 11th, we'd have 2 full weeks.
That we can review them and actually vote on it on the 21st, okay?
By July 11th, you said?
Yeah, have letters of interest submitted to Highland Township.
Now, how many days would you want to advertise that? Because we've been advertising 1 day, but there's a possibility to advertise 3 days if you want, or what did you want to do, guys?
I would think if we did it one day, the word of mouth should get out.
I think so
I think
too.
people will talk about it.
And I'm thinking that, on the meetings, I'm supposed to put them up at the municipal building. Maybe we could do that too as well, put one at the municipal building.
Advertise for 1 day in the newspapers for a letter of interest before July 11th. So that way, I'll make sure that I get, copies or whatever to everybody, so everybody has time to review them and decide, and come up with an idea so we can actually do a final vote on that on the 21st.
And then I could talk to, see when we want to put that in, and if it's by July 11th, we probably want to get it in pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Monday. We'll submit it
Monday.
to Township Secretary. Hopefully she can put it in there by the 28th or 29th.
Misty, could you also post it like at the post office or other? No, you can't.
We can't do it at the post office anymore. There's highlighted rules and regulations at the
Okay,
post
I didn't
office
know.
now.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I wonder if you could put one up at the store.
Yeah, there was too many people screaming, so they're
Because
not
he's
allowed
open
to.
on weekends,
Yeah, we could put one up, the Russell City Sports and
the store.
the Russell City Store, possibly. In word of mouth, I think travels pretty good through Highland. We're a pretty small community.
So I make a motion that we go ahead and advertise.
I'll second that
For that.
motion.
You know, we'll put it in for July, we'll say that we're taking them till July 11th.
Mm-hmm. And I think letters of interest are sufficient as
Yeah,
long as
letters of
the
interest, right.
letter explains maybe to us why they want to do it. You know, give us that kind of thing, and then we'll decide.
And I'll consult with Chad and see what, maybe he's got the wording, you know, because he likes to provide the wording for that.
Okay, all right.
So I'll talk to him today about that and see
And
if
who
he can get
seconded?
that to me by Monday.
Who seconded that motion?
William. Yeah, and one more thing I want to backtrack on the newsletters. How were we handling that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a question I had for everybody.
Yeah,
That I'm not sure how the best way to do is getting it out, you know.
yeah.
I put some down at the store here. I have no idea. The only thing I know is on the newsletter, there's an email address stating, you know, if you want these sent to you.
Oh, no, yeah. So I'm wondering if, I mean, I'd be willing to go door to door, and there's not many homes in James City. So I could probably do that. Is there something, an ordinance against leaving
No.
like a flyer in somebody's screen door? Okay. That's probably what I'll do then.
I can help you with that.
Okay. And then out in Highland, I can get some out there. Maybe talk to Marcia Buell, see if she's doing any
And that.
Any more?
That information, getting the information out, I believe that's the key. That's
Yeah.
the key. I had somebody from James City ask me, how'd you make out with that vote, that whole rule? I didn't even know that it was voted in.
Okay.
That was pretty sad.
In your next newsletter, your updated newsletter, can you put in there about the vacancy and
Yeah,
because that would be a good way to get it out.
yeah.
And could we put that on Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I go on
You
there,
think about putting maybe like a questionnaire in with the newsletter, asking people, I mean, since they're not coming to the meetings and letting us know how they feel about things, maybe a 5-question, questionnaire of what they like and what they don't like about our form of government right now.
Okay.
And maybe
Right.
include that with the newsletter. And have them, you're asking them to put postage on it, but, to send it back or drop it off to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Have like a Dropbox or something somewhere.
Is there
Yeah.
any rules against there being a drop box at the fire hall?
The fire hall's not open, the doors are locked.
Yeah, I meant a box outside of
box,
the fire hall itself.
I think it'll get vandalized at the fire hall.
Okay, I just thought I would.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the fire department sometimes has issues with vandalism and has to, with the stuff that they have outside now. So I think if we would put something out there on home rule, I think that would probably,
Okay.
will we be able to get them
vandalism would be
to
an issue.
answer those questions via email? Or not email, or on Facebook or something like that?
We could invite them to come to the next meeting with their questionnaires.
Right.
You know, just something, because we're not getting the community's input, which is the whole thing.
That's the point of
Yeah.
doing this study, absolutely.
I think there's a lot of people behind us, but to get them out of the house and to give them, you know, to give us what we need to hear, we're just not getting it. And I don't know how to do that.
Maybe we need more drama on YouTube.
I don't know. But I thought maybe a questionnaire to where maybe they felt comfortable of sitting in their own home, filling it out,
Right,
even if they don't want to sign it.
Right.
You know, just
Right.
something, let us know that,
that you're there and you're listening.
yeah, that we have support other than the small, you know, group
Right.
of us that are giving it.
I think
Well,
that.
if anybody could get in touch with Mike Smith, I'm sure he touched a lot of hearts.
Mike Smith.
That's a long story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. I'll get to like a survey kind of thing put together.
You can get it written out there.
And then we'll include that in the newsletter, and then we'll go door to door with that with that, and get it out there too, as far as wide as we can.
And if anybody has input, we can just maybe email you.
Yeah, we have the public email
Right.
address.
Are you guys gonna be set up at the car show?
The home rule?
Yeah,
Yes.
so that, if we can get that out before.
And that's what, July 2nd, isn't it?
then
Yes.
maybe if they come to the car show, they can drop it off at your table.
Right. That's a good idea. That's a great idea.
And we can even put that on the questionnaire too. as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
On July 2nd, hopefully, if I have the opportunity, if not, if somebody else can help volunteer. We do have some homemade candy that was donated to us that we can sell. Set up a booth up at the car show in James City to sell that. I do know currently that our candy sales are going, the candy fundraiser that is going on for us has actually provided half of the money that we've taken in so far. So it's a good fundraiser. It's, creating revenue for us. That somebody else is willing to do the hard work for. Hopefully on July 2nd, I'll be able to do that. If not, is anybody else willing to sit up at the car show for an hour or two on July 2nd?
I'm willing to.
Okay.
I'll have to see if I can change my plans. I was going out of town.
Okay, that'd be, even if we have, I know we have one volunteer from the township that'll do it, but I don't want that one volunteer, she's already working very hard, and I don't want to lean on her too hard.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to make sure that she understands that we're willing to work just as hard as
Yeah,
she
I know.
is.
Are they doing planks too?
What time does that
You got
start,
yours in
Misty?
I'll help.
You'll help with that?
Yeah, but,
Great.
whether it's
Bill and I will
a
too.
couple people
Misty.
together or take turns so we can cover the whole.
Okay,
And I can also bake things too.
great. That'd be great.
They're offering to be volunteering to be in the dunk tank.
Okay.
You guys want to do a dunk tank?
Dunk tank. Oh my God,
I
yes.
suppose you're gonna fill.
I guess they're gonna have a dunk tank. I think they're gonna have a dunk tank too.
I suppose I'm gonna be the one dunking pig shit or something.
No, it's water.
Even if I walk
Okay.
over and relieve somebody, I mean.
Right.
Can I bring
Let him go
basketball?
let him knock on your door
Yeah.
and use the restroom
Oh,
or
you hit it.
something.
I mean,
You
Yeah,
got one
anything.
free
I'll be around
push.
there. I mean, but it's just really hard for me to say I'm gonna be there because I'm so open-ended on this schedule.
Right, yep, I get it.
Yeah, he said I
But
get
I
a
won't
free
plan on
push.
taking it.
I said I need
Down,
to.
but,
Yeah, yep,
Basketball.
okay.
About
I
the time,
discussed it more
So
with
get
the lady.
conference call.
Yeah.
All right, now on the 21st of July, we're gonna have a Grand Township conference call. And that was confirmed.
Yeah, I got an email from Stacy Long from Grant Township that she is definitely available for us. She's gonna offer us, advice and guidance and answer a lot of our questions. Grant Township's been there, done that, and actually has been successful with it. So we thought that Grant Township would be a great place too, as
Wanna
a
read the email?
jumping board.
Go ahead, Lori.
The actual email from Stacy from Grant Township. It says, I'm inked in to be available via phone on July 21st for your meeting for as long as you would like. I can also see if Judy, I'm not going to say this last name because I'll make it really sound really bad, and Mark Long, and maybe one or two of the others who are on our study commission will also be available on the call as well. No guarantees for everyone else, but I will definitely be on the call. Hoping we can help you. Good vibes and lots of focus to you all. We're rooting for you, Stace. So that was from Grant Township. She'll be available for us.
Now, will that meeting be open to the public?
Yes.
Since we're on a conference call? Okay.
Yes, it will be open to the public. It's one of our public meetings. I think it will be good for, even if she would hear, stuff that's going on, our public questions and that kind of stuff, she will bounce a lot of them things off of her, because like I said, she's been there, done that, and has been successful at it. So she'll be available, and that's the one we're going to do up at the municipal building in James City. So we have the technology
Am I correct?
available to us.
She's a supervisor as well.
Yes, she is a current supervisor of Grant Township.
Yeah.
She was on the Home Rule Study Commission and is currently a working supervisor.
So she knows
there.
how, from that end as well, how
Yep.
it's working.
So if everybody can, get some questions that you want answered together, maybe Stace can answer a lot of those questions if you think we need advice on anything, if we're not, you don't think we're heading fast enough where we need to be, or we're going too fast, all that kind of stuff we can bounce off of Grant Township, and I'm sure that they'll be able to offer us a lot of good, solid advice.
Any new business? Or am I going in the wrong order?
No. I was thinking,
We're doing fine, KP.
oh, yeah. I received a copy of our retainer agreement from CellDeaf. I have that in our file. It's the only new business that I have is if anybody wants to see a copy of that retainer, I do have it here. It is attorney-client privilege, so it's for the commissioners.
Okay.
Okay?
How about committee reports?
I think we kind of did our committee reports
Okay.
inside of our other
Covered
business.
that.
Okay, that's right. Any public comments?
Oh,
I got one thing to say. I heard this comment about the fire department. If you read the second-class code, the township is responsible for fire protection. Why not? You either have a fire department or you pay somebody. If you want to find out how much it costs to have to pay for a fire department, get a hold of Wetmore Township and find out how much they pay Kane. And it goes up just about every year.
I've actually done a lot of research on that for myself as a taxpayer. And with it, like the fire department, I think it should be, written into the charter, because it could cost Highland Township $54,000 a year for fire protection.
It's expensive.
I want to go up, I have to currently talk to our township supervisor to see how much Highland Township now pays for their fire protection. I know they only pay the utilities in that building, which they would have to pay anyway, because it's a municipal building. But I want to know how much out of, that fund has gone for equipment and training for the fire department in 5 years to compare. We've talked to a couple of different places in Highland Township. Because of the way we're spread out, we'll be covered by at least 2, if not 3 other fire departments. So we won't be able to just contract one. We will have to contract more than one. And currently, Wetmore is paying nearly $20,000 a year. You multiply that by 3, worst case scenario, that's where I come up with my $54,000 a year for fire protection. I can't afford that as a resident.
Yeah, I don't think you have anything.
There's a thing that went along with that, Jim. I'll tell you afterwards, because after the last township meeting, I was approached by a supervisor, and I'll explain that to you more.
I saw you talking to him.
Yeah, I was approached, and I'll explain that to you more after the meeting.
But I'm actually doing research on that.
Yeah.
I don't think you have anything to worry.
No, just to get it out to the public, we are not closing the fire department. The township is not closing the fire department, to get that out to the public also.
You know, financially, the township is in a bind right now, and it's
Right.
basically because of revenue.
They need their volunteers because they can't pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
She's not misquoted, she has everybody's side.
we're getting about 30%, 40% of the money we did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and I just had a meeting with the Forest Service, and it's gonna be another 4 or 5 years before this thing picks up again. It's just the price of timber's down, and they're not timbering. In fact, I just met with them about a big timber project back here between here and Sheffield, and it won't start till 2018.
Yeah.
And that's when you've got to get your road rebuilt too.
2 more years.
Okay, that's all. I just want to make a couple comments.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what this is for.
And,
that's good. That's good to know, Jim.
you know, I'll fight for you all I can.
You always
Thank you.
have.
And I'm not going to be there July 2nd. I'm going to be sitting on a lake drinking tequila.
I wish I was with you.
Okay, I'm going to get out of here. If you don't need anything from me,
No,
thanks for
No.
your attention.
thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jim.
It was tequila, right, Jim?
No salt.
He's asking if you have a copy of the Constitution and PA Constitution.
Did you have copies of those?
No, I did not make copies of any of those, but I can if you need them.
Could you?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Sure. You like the paper?
Yeah,
Okay,
I like pictures.
all right. You like my picture?
Yeah.
Any other public comment? Okay,
All right. Meeting's adjourned.
make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta make a motion.
Good job.
Keep messing me up.
No.
I gotta make a motion for every